Have you ever wondered how ancient humans knew what was safe to eat before labels existed? Now imagine you are standing in a forest 2 million years ago. You are hungry, I mean very hungry. In front of you is a bright red berry sitting on a bush. It looks amazing. Honestly, it looks delicious. But you have no phone to identify it. No app, no internet. No small sticker telling you it was responsibly sourced and gluten-free. Just you, the berry, and a decision that could either solve your hunger problem or end your entire existence. What do you do? This is a question every single human ancestor had to answer. Every day. Every meal. For 2 million years. And the fact that you are here watching this video means enough of them got it right. How did ancient humans figure out what was safe to eat before anyone invented labels? Food scientists, or the ability to Google something before putting it in your mouth? The answer is not that they were guessing randomly. They were running a system. And it was smarter than most people give them credit for. The first layer of protection was already built inside the body. Long before any human consciously decided to test a plant, the body was already running its own background checks. Your tongue has 25 different bitter taste receptors. Not 1, not 5, but 25 different taste receptors. Scientists call them TS2RS, meaning taste 2 receptors. But what matters is what they actually do. Bitter flavors in the natural world are usually a plant's way of saying back off. Most toxic plants are bitter because bitterness is their defense system. They evolved it specifically to stop animals from eating them. And the human tongue evolved its own counter-system. Touch something genuinely toxic, something with real chemical danger inside it, and your mouth sends an immediate signal to your brain. The signal is not complicated. It is basically just no. Strong, automatic, hard to override. Your body was doing toxin screening before toxicology existed. Sweetness worked the other way around. Sweet meant sugar. Sugar meant energy. Energy meant survive. So ancient humans were already being guided before they had the language to explain why. Sour and rotten triggered disgust for the same reason. Fermented or spoiled food carries risk, and the body learned to communicate that with a face you still make today when something has gone off. This was not a perfect system. Some toxic things taste fine. Some perfectly safe things taste awful. But as a first filter, it was remarkably effective. The body was not waiting for civilization to invent food safety guidelines. It had already been building them for millions of years. The second layer was observation. Specifically, watching other creatures eat. This one is underrated because it sounds almost too simple. But think about what early humans actually had access to. Every day, in every environment they moved through, there were birds, monkeys, deer, insects, and dozens of other animals eating things. And early humans watched. If a monkey ate a berry and walked away healthy, that was information. If birds were gathering around a particular tree, eating its fruit in large numbers, that was a signal worth paying attention to. Animals do not eat things that kill them repeatedly. They learn. Their presence around a food source was one of the earliest quality checks available. Now, this method had a real flaw, and it is important to say it clearly. Not everything safe for animals is safe for humans. Birds can eat berries from poison ivy without any trouble. Their digestive systems handle certain compounds that would send a human into a medical crisis. So watching animals eat was a useful guide, not a guarantee. Early humans had to layer that observation with other signals. Color, smell, texture, location, and what happened the last time someone in the group tried something similar. But as a starting point for narrowing the options in an unfamiliar environment, watching the local wildlife was genuinely practical. It also worked in reverse. If animals consistently avoided a plant, if no bird touched it, if insects stayed away, if grazing animals walked around it without interest, that avoidance pattern was its own kind of warning label. Nature was already writing the nutrition facts. You just had to pay close enough attention to read them. The third layer is the one that actually built human dietary knowledge into something lasting. It was not instinct, it was not observation, it was other people. What early humans understood that no other species did to the same degree was that suffering could become information, and information could be shared. When someone in a group ate something and got sick, that experience did not just stay with that person. It became a warning, a story, and a rule. Do not eat that plant near the dry riverbed. Do not touch the dark ones after the rains. Wait until the red ones are fully ripe. These were not written down because there was no book to keep records then, but they were stored in the group's collective memory, passed from older people to younger ones, repeated until the lesson became instinct for the next generation. This is why older members of hunter-gatherer communities were so critical to survival. They were not just the elders, they were the database. They remembered which routes were safe in the dry season and dangerous when waterlogged. They knew which fruits caused problems when eaten on an empty stomach versus alongside other foods. They carried years of trial, error, and observation in their heads, and they shared it. Children did not start from zero. They started from everything the group had already learned. And this social transfer of food knowledge was so powerful that it survived long after the specific reasons behind it were forgotten. Some communities developed strict rules about certain foods. Rules framed as tradition or even as religious law that actually encoded genuine safety knowledge from generations earlier. Nobody remembered why you were not supposed to eat that particular root in that particular season. But enough people had learned the hard way, generations back, that the rule stuck. The knowledge outlived the explanation. But here is where this gets genuinely interesting. Because observation and memory could only take early humans so far. There were plants that were clearly nutritious, clearly calorie-dense, clearly worth eating, but also clearly dangerous in their raw form. And at some point, a group of early humans discovered something remarkable. Fire could fix that. Some plants that were toxic when raw became safe after being exposed to heat. Tubers that were impossible to digest became soft and nourishing when cooked. Tough roots that would hurt your teeth and strain your gut became manageable. The heat broke down harmful compounds. It neutralized defenses the plant had built up over thousands of years. And suddenly, an entire category of food that had previously been off the table became available. Cooking did not just make food taste better. It unlocked a pantry that early humans had been walking past without being able to open. Cassava is one of the clearest examples. It is rich in starch and nutrition. It is also full of compounds that produce cyanide when eaten raw. Not ideal because it is catastrophic. But when you slice it, soak it, and apply heat, those compounds break down. The result is perfectly safe and highly nutritious. Someone figured that out without a chemistry degree, without a lab, and without a safety manual. They figured it out by watching what happened, trying different things, and paying attention to what worked. Cooking also did something that mattered socially. It turned food into a group activity, preparing a meal, sharing it around a fire, deciding together what was tried and tested versus what was still unknown. All of that built community and reinforced the knowledge networks that kept everyone safer. The fire was not just a kitchen. It was the earliest version of a food safety committee. Everyone sat around it. Everyone shared what they knew. There is a myth worth addressing here before wrapping this up. Some people assume that ancient humans had stronger stomachs, tougher digestive systems, or some kind of built-in immunity that let them eat things that would put modern human in hospital. That is not quite right. They got sick. They died from bad food. Children were especially vulnerable. Ancient burial sites do not tell the story of people with indestructible digestive systems. They tell the story of communities that learned from losses. The real advantage was not biological armor. It was accumulated intelligence. Every generation knew a little more than the one before it. Every mistake that was survived became a lesson. Every lesson was shared. Every rule that emerged from those lessons made the next generation slightly safer than the last. That process, running quietly across thousands of generations, is what turned a dangerous and unpredictable food landscape into something navigable. Not perfect. Not without casualties. But navigable. So the next time you scan a barcode, check an ingredient list, or Google whether a mushroom from your garden is edible, just know that you are doing the same thing your ancestors did. Trying to answer the same question with whatever tools you happen to have available. They had bitter taste receptors, sharp eyes, and each other. You have apps, food science, and an expiry date stamped on the side of the box. Same problem, different equipment. And the fact that the question is still worth asking tells you something about how seriously it has always mattered. If this video made you think differently about your next meal, drop a comment below and let us know what surprised you most. And if you want more stories like this, the kind that make ordinary things feel extraordinary, subscribe so you do not miss what comes next.